Hey guys, our name is SprayGunner and I have Jim here with me and I have no idea where we're at. I know my employee hiding here somewhere, hiding Walter.
We do see Walter pretty often, yes.
Yes. So what's the place?
Well, this is the Suncoast Center for Fine Scale Modeling. And so, it came about just really a bunch of different factors happened over time. We started building a group of modelers here in the Tampa Bay area. We started with the layout you see here in the center, the Suncoast Center, which is a larger layout. And the idea is that we wanted to do something in fine scale, fine detail, in large scale, because there wasn't much out there. And so Frank said, why don't we just do like a modular layout, maybe, 6 by 18, something like that. But obviously it got out of control.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than that.
Yeah, like 40 by 40. It's a footprint. It kept getting bigger and bigger. And so because it's a modular, believe it or not, we tear this whole thing down. We've traveled the whole country with this thing. We went from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon, and Los Angeles, and Hickory, North Carolina, places in between. And so it's built as a modular. We kept adding to it. But, we were nomads. We had no place to go. Basically, we just set up at trade shows or, worked on the weekends, did some of the modular work in our houses. But then, Dave joined the group, Dave Ravella, and fortunately had a business deal that allowed him to have some extra cash to buy the building for us. And so that's how the Suncoast Center came together. Now, Dave is one of our best modelers and produces a ton of the stuff that we do here. But, it was good fortune that this happened. He had an interest in buying the building. Also good fortune, one of our members, Richard, is an architect by trade. And so he designed the interior for the building because this was basically just a cabinetry shop with metal walls and metal ceiling. And so Richard designed the interior, and we had the interior built, the cloud over the layout, so it's all custom designed. So it was a compilation, I guess, of the right people coming together at the right time, and some pretty good breaks that allowed us to do this. Yeah, that's exactly it.
What's special for you Wednesday? What's like most of Wednesdays from SprayGunner?
Yeah, well, Wednesdays is when the guys get together and just, shoot, the bowl just a little bit and exchange modeling ideas. And so, we learn a lot from each other. Everybody's trying things and experimenting things. We learned a lot from Walter. He says, wait a minute, you could do this, or try this, or have you seen this? So that's what happens on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We usually are on Saturdays.
I guess you guys have some heavy use of airbrush here, right?
We do
some paintings.
We do a lot of painting. Yeah, all methods. We use spray, and we obviously use the airbrushes, and we're doing a lot. Actually, John's doing hand painting with acrylics on his backdrop. So we use all different methods. I mean, when when you're scratch building, you have to figure out ways to do things. There are some kits and some pieces that are helpful, but most of this we design from scratch. For example, like these rocks here, this is foam rubber that you would tear from your chair seat, your cushion. So you tear it apart in pieces. You can see some of the green actually coming out underneath. And so then we're using latex grout mix that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's, covering it, and you got some different acrylics in there, dry brushing. So you got to figure out ways to do things.
Okay. So we're physically right now in Trinity, Florida, right? It's not far from Tampa Bay, but this takes us somewhere else. I mean, especially when you look for camera, all of this layout takes. What's the place? What is it? What is it taking from? Inspiration.
The Sundance Central is basically a Western narrow gauge railway, inspired by Colorado, say 1940, something like that, in that range. Silverton Central is similar, maybe just a little bit earlier, a 1930s kind of timeline. Over here we have an O-scale operating switching layout that was really cast on the Cleveland lakefront on Lake Erie in the 1970s. And with the layout that we actually got from Australian modelers and shipped here to the U.S. And so that layout is a Mississippi Delta scene, and most of them had never been to Mississippi when they did the modeling. So different scenarios have different timelines and different in geographic passages.
Okay, interesting. So why don't you take us around?
This is S scale 164. And this layout, Sundance Central we've been building for about 15 years or so, making enhancements to it. John's been working on it on this Silverton Central probably even longer, maybe 16 or 17 years with a group of people. Walter's been involved with him on this layout in a big way. And so again, everything's scratch built. All the track is hand laid. This is a method we use for making trees with sagebrush and super trees. and scale these. John does a lot of work on modeling water and running water, things that, with acrylics, all that sort of thing. Modeling trees, all the buildings here are scratch built. In the background, you see in the back, that's John, his hand painting in the background, these acrylics that still under construction, doesn't have it all done all the way around, but it makes for pretty good presentation. We try to have a consistent look. Everything here has the same drapes, same colors, the same fascia colors, so we get sort of a consistent look throughout the museum. All right, so we will turn the turntable just like they did in real life by hand. It's called an Armstrong turntable. Two people with strong arms move this turntable with a locomotive. Now we get back into the engine house. Here is we'll add a little bit of water to the locomotive. You hear the water flowing out in just a moment.
Wow! It's so real. You can teach history for kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like by showing this.
And we do have kids groups, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and so on that come through. Yeah.
Because many kids heard about steam trains only from the Thomas train.
That's exactly. And by the way, that's been a great impetus for young people's interest in trains. Thomas the Tank. Yeah, that's been great. Our O-scale layout over there, we actually allow people to operate it. And we tell them what switching moves to make. And the young people, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, they love to operate it. The adults are kind of afraid of them. But younger people are like, yeah, let me do it. And so they do a great job. They figured out it's kind of like a game you would do on your phone, only it's real life because it's an operating train. This little room that you're seeing here is a compilation of some artists from across the world, actually. I believe this is from Norway, and these are several artists. Now, a lot of these have been published in magazines, these particular models. In fact, if you look over here on the wall, these photographs are photographs of the models, right? So it gives you some sense of the kind of detail that's involved. And of course, you never know where you're going to go. We actually have a motion figure over here with our pilot. I think he's operating today. This is motion activated. And then it's followed up by video. So we're trying to give people a sense for, there you can see this took a long time to get this working. And a lot of the things we have here, most of this we do ourselves, but there are also some collaborations from artists around the world, especially on the military side. When we get to some of the other military dioramas, you'll see there's an artist from Italy named Luca that models these heads for these figures, and it's just amazing what he's able to reproduce. You'll see Tom Hanks, you'll see lots of people over there that you recognize as we get to some of the other military model dioramas. What makes something like this real, we look at multiple factors. We look at color, we look at texture, we look at contrast, and we look at shadows. I mean, you can take everything in there. If it was just clean, and hanging in that manner in the room, it wouldn't have near the appearance, which might replicate what real life looks like.
I can almost smell how this place is. Yeah, it's really gross and all the details. So yeah, really, really nice. Nice and gross at the same time.
And most of these models are based on 1/6 scale G.I. Joe figures, but obviously they're heavily detailed with the armature and boots and all of the uniforms and helmets, and each one of the heads is made separately, so it looks like the original person in the movie. Yeah, so we try to put animation where we can. This is for example, some animation. We have basically the lightning strikes at the top of the fire and the boots. And as it goes on, and sequence happens, the fire spreads, from the left to the right. So, this is something people don't expect. We have open houses, pretty crowded, a lot of people walking around. All of a sudden, there's a lightning strike, and lightning startle, and then they hear the fire. So it's not something they expect to see. Again, we're trying to, provoke the imagination to get people involved. It's a little bit, like Disney. We're trying to create this fantasy that people don't expect, and they love it. The other thing we do is we go down under the trestle. There's a story over here. There's a scene. There are animals. There are running water. You think, what can you do to recreate this? Again, these are the foam rubber rocks I talked about. So we had to transport this plaster rocks. It was way too heavy. So these are very light. And so how do you create that waterfall that comes down from the tip there? Basically, that is the kind of string that you have in your string trimmer while you're trimming your yard. Okay, so that's the basis for that. And then we're using the acrylic pulp on top of that to be able to produce the water effects. So again, you figure out how you do this stuff. Just like these trees. We build these armatures basically out of basswood. And then this is a material called Ming fir. It's a dry plant material that we discovered, and it works really well for creating these trees. And others we're using bondo at the base to basically carve out so that it looks like a tree. You see the roots going down into the ground. So again, you try to think how this looks in real life and what we can do in miniature to try to recreate it.
It's amazing. You're planning on writing a book on some advices about it?
I don't know. We're so busy doing this, we haven't had a chance to write a book or anything. We do have a couple of videos out there, but we spend most of our time modeling. This is Omaha Beach, and there's Tom Hanks. This is recreating that scene from Saving Private Ryan. And so, you can see all of the figures that have been put together, and it recreates the scene pretty accurately. This is one, again, that was a collaboration with Luca out of Italy that he worked with us on this particular one. And then Dave wanted to do a Higgins landing craft. And so this is a Higgins landing craft at 1/6 scale. You can see how big it is in real life. This craft itself was built out of plywood, just like the real thing, from a guy in the Philippines. And then Dave did the Jeep and the details on the figures, but Luca did all the heads on the figures. Again, we're trying to capture the emotion of these soldiers that are about ready to land on the beach. He's right behind the driver. He's got his rosary beads in his hand. He knows what he's going to be facing soon as they land. That's the kind of stuff we're trying to create and get the emotion involved in this. And we spent the whole summer trying to figure out how to make these waves and this big of a diorama display. But, again, you keep experimenting with methods that work pretty well.
Awesome.
There's one over here I think we should take a look at. So this is our boxcar for the Nazi prison camp. Right? Now you can see how big this is. This is in 1/6 scale. And this whole model was really built for the most part by Frank. And again, he built it board by board from the original plans. We're able to get plans from these original, from these boxcars. And so figure out, angle iron again from Home Depot. We're trying to figure out how that works in scale. Like the sides of the trucks here, the wheel frames, those all look like metal. But we cut those, we have a laser cutter. So we cut those in the laser cutter, and it's about 15 different layers to be able to put together the sides there on the trucks. And then again, the figures, that's a collaboration with Luca. So he made the heads and what we did here with the uniforms for the Nazi soldiers and the captured U.S. airmen. That's an actual photograph behind. And so we try to do things to tie together, but you've got your power pole and your power right to the photograph, right? Okay, so you try to bring those pieces together, right? And there's one over here, I think you probably need. Again, this is World War II, Battle of Stavelot. We have these particular, this is a famous photograph of these soldiers that were photographed in front of their tank. And so basically, Dave does a lot of military modeling, and he super detailed that tank, and a lot of weathering. There's a lot of airbrushing and a lot of painting, and a lot of technique goes into that, probably 15 different layers to be able to achieve that look on the tank, and then adding all the details. If you look at the figures here, they're posed exactly like they are in the photograph. Okay, and again, Luca made the heads to match so that we get the same look, the facial expression, etc. And again, in the fantasy part of making this whole thing work, each one of the bricks here, these are pieces of foam that we cut out. Same way with the wall, the bricks there, and the details. Now we have a wheel hub from a Jeep that allows us to turn this whole thing. And then you get a picture of what it looks like on the inside of the building after it's been hit by bombs, and the kind of destruction and what you see, the aftermath of the war.
And again, all details, if you don't see it around the surface, there's a full-size bricks and a grenade there in the corner.
Yeah, those bricks, by the way, are all foam. So we cut them out one by one with foam and weather them. A lot of airbrushing on that to get that effect, and some hand pastels and powders, and to bring the whole thing to make it look real.
You won't be able to film those details, so you gotta see it. Yeah, you gotta come here and see it. Trinity, Florida.
This is our monitor stage here. Actually, a monitor stage we built for us by a company out of California, built in Disney, and they shipped it here. And so when we do clinics, we've got the German lights, essentially, and here's the switch. And so we have clinics, and we have a camera that also shows what's happening here. So we're teaching people these techniques, essentially how to do these things, how to work with 3D printing, things of this nature, how to make trees. There's all kinds of things that we're doing. So we do try to do at least 2 clinics every time we have an open house. A lot of our clinics are also posted online in our YouTube channel, Suncoast Center for Fine Scale Modeling. We've got probably 20 or 25 video posts on how to do things like this, making trees, etc. But you see running there, we also run our DVD that we have that is an overview of the Suncoast Center. So, trying to share what we do to everybody. And there are a lot of people that come here, and I think that they just enjoy watching. They're probably not going to build these kinds of things themselves, but we set out chairs here. There's probably 15 or 20 chairs. It's packed every time. Some people just like to know how it's made, and other people are going to actually do it.
Yeah, so the cool chairs, even everything is like little detail. You feel like an airplane.
Yeah, that's another one.
Like pilot here.
Dave's discoveries, he found these aeronautical chairs somewhere and brought them here to the center. So yeah, they're very comfortable. They do have a very unique look.
Yeah, the spirit, Vulture's disappearing every Wednesday from our office to back here. I think I'll be joining him at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what's up to.
Yep. How long have you been, when you guys put your first piece together?
Well, so for the Sundance Center, we started 15 years ago.
Okay.
And by the time we got into this building and added in these additional displays, I guess we've been here about 8 or 9 years. We've been in the building.
Yeah.
And so, we thought we've got like 7,500 square feet. We thought we'd be able to model forever with lots of space. Now we're trying to figure out how to get in. When we built the O-scale layout up front, the switching layout, we had to take another layout down because we're already past this.
Use the second level kind of planes flying around you, things like that.
Yeah, be careful, we might do that. We do crazy stuff like that.
Okay. Anyways, I enjoyed it here. Hope you guys come at some point and visit them. It's Trinity, Florida, right?
Yeah. The basically Suncoast Center for Fine Scale Modeling. You can see our YouTube channel, finescalemodeling.org is our website. We're open the 3rd Saturday of every month from September through May.
Okay.
Yeah, to the general public. And so, yeah, we'd love to have people come and visit. If you can't, go to the YouTube channel, and you can sort of get a sense from videos like this and what it's like. But we were open last Saturday for the first time in a year because of the pandemic, and we had an individual fly down from Michigan just to be able to come to the open house. So we love sharing all this stuff.
I'm pretty sure he's on the radio. It's really, really nice. All right, I appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you
so much.